So we look at this situation now with so-called ISIS attacking in Belgium a few days ago, and I have to say to myself, I have seen a tremendous shift and change in terms of the way people talk about this. You know, I'm really happy to see a lot of it, especially within the independent media, people acknowledging the obvious. We fund, we train, we protect, and we ally with those who fund, train, and protect so-called ISIS. It's the same old story. It's a Frankenstein that we create in order to justify these insane policies. And what could be better to sowing the seeds of sectarian hatred than financing a bunch of international terrorists, mercenaries, giving them weapons, explosives, financial support and training, and coddling them, protecting them, and sending them into Syria. This is what we've done to Syria. Our best friends and allies in Turkey, very openly now, no one who's serious denies that Turkey is shuttling these bastards in and out of Turkey. They cross back into Turkey from Syria, they get replenished, they get rearmed, and they go back in. And they just keep crossing back and forth, and this is the way it goes. And that's our best friend and ally, Turkey, which we could go on about. Our best friends and allies in Saudi Arabia I've already gotten into, but we've got Qatar and the other Gulf states. They're all a bunch of puppets. Every fucking last one of them are puppets. The only nations that we ever attack are those that aren't puppets. And of course, this explains a lot about Iran. You know, I've now been there 4 times, and I'll tell you what, man, the Iranian people have a lot to be proud of in terms of their history. They really do, going back to the Persian Empire and whatnot. In terms of empires, that one has, you know, of course, every empire and every nation has its abuses, its crimes, and there's no denying it. So I'm not painting a picture of a utopian empire that's benevolent and so on. I'm not in any way doing that. But the fact is, if you look fairly at Iranian Persian history, there's a lot to be proud of. How many people realize that Iran really, in true terms, they have not actually engaged in a war, and even there's only been one war they've engaged in over the last basically 600-700 years. Think of that, really, 600-700 years. The only war that they've been involved in is a war instigated by us. And how ironic, by our attack dog, Saddam Hussein. And because the Iranian people had the nerve to get rid of our puppet, the Shah of Iran, with his secret service, his Savak, that was torturing and killing and effectively pushing Western bullshit values on the Iranian people. And let's go back even further to 1953 when the democratically elected head of state, Mossadegh, in Iran was overthrown, was taken out in a coup instigated by the CIA. We've been fucking with Iran for a long time. And the one war they've been involved in 600 years was the Iran-Iraq war with our best friend and ally Saddam Hussein, who wasn't just gassing the Kurds, he was also using chemical weapons against the Iranians. And I've actually met some of the survivors of these chemical attacks. One of them, a parliamentarian who suffers deep respiratory problems to this day. There's about 100,000 Iranians that suffer from exposure to chemical weapons, courtesy of Saddam Hussein and the CIA and US taxpayers. That's the truth of the matter. When they fought this war against Iraq, this was a noble war, a noble war. They did not choose this war. It was completely instigated by the West, courtesy of Saddam Hussein, and they fought and lost a million men and women in Iran. They fought a noble fight. I've met people who were 14 years old. I met one young man, well, older man now, but he was 14 years old when he lied about his age to get to the front. They defended their nation with honor and integrity. And listen to this. I mean, this is an amazing fact that almost nobody knows in the West. Saddam Hussein was hitting Iranian small cities in Iran on the western border with Iraq. They were hitting small cities with chemical weapons, field hospitals, and things like that. And there was a very active debate within Iran as to how to respond to this. I mean, you know, they're hitting us with majorly fucking criminal weapons and killing people in really the most horrendous of ways. What do we do in response?